All right, it is our last day here at the Senior Bowl. It's been a great time coming back down to Mobtown, Mobile, Alabama, the 251. Blaine got to see your old stomping grounds. I got to see mine. But we also were very, very fortunate enough to hang out with a friend of yours that you went to high school with, who is one of the male contestants on a certain new love show.
Well, we think, right?
Well, we think. Listen, he may have tricked us a little bit.
he gaslighted us.
Here's what I'll say. It made it sound like he was actually going to be the main guy on a show like The Bachelor, and turns out he was just basically like a glorified extra. But we'll see. I think he's got it's all scripted.
Oh, it's all scripted to a T. Well, we're going to see how many episodes there's going to be. Because the way he told me, he's going to be kind of more important when it comes to latter episodes in the series. They're going to meet in like a little fishing shop. He's going to sell the fish bait tour.
I'm going to be honest with you.
They're going to go on a little fishing trip. It was hilarious.
Yeah, we were privy enough to see a little bit of it, and I'm not going to say the name of the show. I'm not going to say what it's coming on, but I'll tell you it's one of the cringiest things I've ever been involved with in my life.
Yeah, I can't.
And it's just another reason why the aliens won't talk to us. Here's what I don't understand. All right, if you're going to have a show where people have to fall in love. I don't care if it's one guy and there's 9 girls like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette or whatever, if it's 5 guys and 5 girls like they're selling burgers and Cajun fries. If you're going to make it scripted, you need to hire actors. Isn't that what acting is? Hey, we have an idea for a show or a movie. Here's a script. You need to make this seem believable so people want to watch it. There's a profession for that. It's called acting. But you took a bunch of amateurs and gave them scripted content. That makes absolutely no sense to me, David. I don't get it all. But the worst part was, and obviously I'm not going to get into names.
Tell me
director,
names. Tell me names.
Whatever they called the. No.
We should get into.
No. I think we should. I think we should.
Address.
No. The director was this nerdy white guy with a jean jacket and a backwards hat. Okay, and at the end of the whatever you call it, they're supposed to, everybody's supposed to get together, all the people that are on the show, and get excited because it's like the ending shot, for like an episode, to go to the next one. And he started dancing, and it was just, he looked at the one guy and was like, hey man, go play us a banger. I don't know. It just made me worse. I was worse being associated with it. Like I said, not going to say the name of it, but it is the cringiest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I told my buddy he needs to insert himself early.
You have
if you want to be a main character, you have to do something wild early. Whether that's getting in a pretend fight with somebody, just doing something wild. Because at the end of the day, if you go off script, those are the type of directors that love stuff.
No, well, that's the thing. It's like prison. It's the first down finding the biggest person.
Prison. Literally, it is.
That's it. You want to talk about episode 1?
It is.
Jake's on scene. Mm-hmm. Now, look, they would probably never let me back, but it'd be a hell of an episode 1. I'd probably end up winning it. But I was with you. I felt like you should have inserted, maybe started either crying or try to fight somebody or just starting something or breaking a glass or just at an opportune moment. But no, it was a very interesting time.
It reminds me of a little known piece of cinema that I worked on when I first started in the video industry called The Nigerian Housewives of Atlanta. If you haven't seen that one, congratulations.
No way,
neither have I. Nigerian Housewives of Atlanta. I was a production assistant. One of the first gigs I got hired for. I don't even remember if I got paid. It was a tough situation.
You fit that well.
The Nigerian Housewives.
Hold on. I wasn't in it. I wasn't in it. I was on the crew.
You weren't a contestant on? Oh,
no,
okay.
I was a production assistant.
By crew, he means he was the director.
Yeah. I was like, Darby's changed a lot.
Yeah, no. All right, well, we have Hendon Hooker joining us today. Again, we're wrapping up Senior Bowl coverage. There was some great play yesterday during both practice sessions. In the NFL right now, I mean, there's about as much news as we've had with Tom Brady retiring, obviously Sean Payton, D'Amico Ryans, Derek Carr to the Saints. Stay tuned. Got a hell of a show. It's a Thirsty Thursday, and this is Crane & Company. There are some quarterbacks that carry on legacies. There's quarterbacks that come in after the trend or the standard has been set and continue to elevate the program where they're at. Then you have quarterbacks like Hendon Hooker, who transferred to a team like Tennessee or a national brand that traditionally has been pretty good but has fallen on hard times for pretty much decades. And he has helped, and it wasn't just him, but he has helped resurrect the Tennessee program back to where they believe they belong. And in reality, with a fan base that is that big, that has their own Navy, that is that loyal through thick and thin, they deserve it. So 20, 25, 30 years down the road, Tennessee is going to continue to have really good quarterbacks that go there. Josh Heupel's offense is very, very attractive. But Hendon Hooker is the guy that jump-started the engine. He is the guy that got the ball rolling for Tennessee, and it couldn't have happened to a better individual. Very excited to get to our interview with Hendon Hooker. But before we do that, David, you played the position. You watched Hendon. The transformation he made from Virginia Tech to Tennessee is about as big of a one as I have seen, with kind of an older guy making that move. It's almost Geno Smith college-esque in my opinion.
Yeah, well, obviously Josh Heupel had a lot to do with that, but even take the system and the scheme away that he was playing it at Tennessee, 70% completion percentage last year. Guys, I don't care if you're throwing routes on air, that's difficult to do. You add on top of that 3,100 yards with being robbed of an extra game because of the injury, and then 2 interceptions, 27 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions. Go back to the year before, he still had a 68% completion percentage. I think he threw, 31 TDs, 3 interceptions. The touchdown to interception ratio these guys are putting up, I think Justin Fields, what he was able to do with the Buckeyes, these recent quarterbacks, it's just absolutely insane. And if you don't turn the ball over and you can make plays, you're always going to have a future in the NFL.
Yeah, and Blaine, again, we've watched Hendon continue to progress. We know about how lethal he can be running. He's a long strider. You see him in person, you can see really how long he is. But he gets the ball out decently quick. My question to you for Hendon Hooker, if you look, he's about to turn 25, right? Mm-hmm. He's coming off a knee injury. And Josh Heupel's system for quarterbacks, guys in the NFL are a little bit wary because it is kind of a anomaly on the spectrum of offenses. Not that there are not things that translate to the NFL, but the style of it. I believe, though, Hendon Hooker has the off-the-field capability, the leadership capability, and the on-the-field physical talent to maybe be a steal from somebody in the second round. I don't think he's going first round, but I don't think he's fallen all the way to day 3.
He's going to be a second or third round guy. I mean, I think it all comes down to his injury. And another thing we're saying about Hendon, especially when he played at Tennessee, certain guys are just good football players and certain guys impact teams, right? Hendon Hooker impacted Tennessee in many different ways, and I think he can do that in the league. And you look at the quarterbacks. I mean, Huntley just made a Pro Bowl.
Yep.
I mean, you going to tell me Hendon Hooker probably in his first 3 years not going to be better than Huntley? I think he is. He's a better version of Josh Dobbs. There are places right now. I think the Colts will be a good fit. There are places right now in the NFL, depending on the system, and most of these systems are super different, but I see Hendon Hooker under center. I see Hendon Hooker in a play-action type offense, and I think Hendon Hooker could be a steal this draft. If you really give me the question of who I trust the most between Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, or Hendon Hooker, I am taking Hendon Hooker. I'm with you 100%. I am standing on a mountain and screaming that I will trust my offense more with Hendon Hooker than most of the quarterbacks that are going to get drafted before him.
Well, the way I look at it is if I'm making a cross-country trip, and for most of the teams that aren't at the top, that's what they're having to make from a roster standpoint. If I'm making a cross-country trip, I would much rather be in a car that is reliable, that I know is not going to break down. It may not go 120 miles an hour. All right, it may not have a V8 in it, but I know it's going to get me from where I need to go, from where I am to where I need to go. I would much rather take a chance on that of not breaking down than go get a Ferrari or a Lambo that's going to break down when I get halfway there. Then I'm going to have to pay to fix it. Maybe it's never going to run like it did again. It's got all these problems. Why am I having to order parts from Europe? I would rather have Steady Eddie at quarterback. And we're going to get to the Booster Club in that Hendon Hooker interview in a second. But to both of you guys, I don't understand the knock on guys being older coming into the NFL now.
I don't understand.
Do you remember how it used to be when like Brandon Weeden and some of these guys came in? It was a great thing. Oh, you're 27 years old. You're mature. I don't got to worry about you going to Onyx in Atlanta and just throwing singles everywhere and getting arrested or doing a Pac-Man Jones type situation. You're 25 years old. You're not out there playing running back. You're not out there playing, nickel where you got to take on guys in the box and go cover guys. You're 25 years old as a quarterback. You're going to have to throw your way to it. I want maturity. I want guys with experience. That's why I'm shocked BYU doesn't have more success than what they do because they're all 26, 27 years old. They're not worried about going out to the club and finding a girl. They're having to pay a mortgage and take care of 2 kids. So I don't understand the knock on the age. Obviously, the injury is a big deal. We all know that. And then the system, I think there is some merit to that, to the system that Josh Heupel runs, and a little bit of it translating to the NFL. But after watching Hendon, he can make all the throws, and he's a hell of a person off the field. I just don't understand the age argument when it comes to quarterbacks.
When it comes to quarterbacks, you're exactly right. Now, when it comes to running backs, I think there's a little bit more of an argument to be made.
Different.
And certainly pitchers, in baseball, I think that you can make that argument. The more throws that you have, you want to use those arms up while they're still young. But quarterbacks, it doesn't make sense to me. You want as much maturity as possible, which brings me to the point I was going to make about Kenny Pickett, okay? Kenny Pickett went in the bottom half of the first round last season, ends up being the starting quarterback in Pittsburgh, and really had an opportunity to lead the Steelers to the playoffs. Do you think, based off what Kenny Pickett was able to do this season in Pittsburgh, that that'll make some teams go reach for Hendon Hooker, maybe get up into that first round? And if so, remember, Kenny Pickett stayed home, right? What about the Tennessee Titans? I mean, how much do you think these guys believe in Malik Willis right now? Do you go make a play at Hendon Hooker if he's there in the bottom half of the first round?
I don't think they believe in Malik Willis, to be honest with you. I think you would have seen Malik Willis play in front of Josh Dobbs, in my opinion. So I think the Titans are looking for a quarterback. Tannehill's not the answer. And there's a lot of teams. Look at a team like the Colts. If the Colts draft Will Levis, it'll be the most Indianapolis Colts thing ever of all time, and I'll never feel sorry for him again. But whether you're the Titans, and if you're Hendon Hooker, you may be a little bit in that honey hole where you're not going to get taken to a terrible team. You may get picked up by a team that has some pieces on the roster, and you can have a chance to have more success early. I mean, look, let's talk about Jalen Hurts. I'm not saying Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hurts are going to have the same success, but Jalen Hurts was very fortunate to get drafted by the Eagles. So when he went into that situation, he's not out there looking at the Texans wide receivers.
Yep.
I mean, you've got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. You can bump Miles Sanders out, Boston Scott, all those guys. So sometimes it is better to maybe get taken a little bit later in a better situation where when you do get your shot early, you have pieces around you to have success because it's not a one-man show. But I do want to get to this interview with Hendon Hooker. Then we're going to get to the Booster Club, read your guys' donations. Make sure you subscribe. Hendon Hooker at the Senior Bowl. Let's go ahead and run that beautiful footage. All right, we are here with former Tennessee Volunteer standout quarterback Hendon Hooker. Hendon, I appreciate you taking some time, man. I know it's been a long journey to get here. You going from Virginia Tech to Tennessee and really upgrading the profile of an already historically great tradition place in Knoxville. Number one, how's the rehab coming? How you feeling?
Yeah, rehab's going great. Finally being able to move around like I want to without those crutches and my forearms burning all day. And to be able to work out full body and not just be working my right leg or my upper body. It's great to be able to be out here and take advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, getting mental reps every day, looks like.
Yeah, mental reps, continuing to be in the playbook as if I'm going to play.
Yeah.
So it's a joy to be around these guys and learn every day.
Well, Hendon, I think you're kind of in a special class of quarterbacks at certain places where when we look back maybe 15, 20, 25 years, when you're a granddad at some point, you're really the quarterback when you look at Tennessee that got them back to where, in my opinion, they deserve to be. That fan base deserves to be talked about. Like they were talking about this year, they show up and show out every time. And then you have quarterbacks that come in after and carry on the legacy. Do you look at yourself, and I know you're a humble guy, but you were really a trendsetter at Tennessee at getting them, back on brand.
Mm-hmm. It's something that we all set out to do from January to January, and it was a blessing just to be a piece of the puzzle to get the program back where it belongs.
And, when you're hurt and you're injured, you want to be out there. There is a difference between being hurt and injured. You're definitely injured when you look at what the injury was. But, you can still get better and you can still improve. What is one thing throughout this week, even though it's been mental, that you feel like you've gained a little bit more knowledge of?
Mm-hmm. Just the verbiage and being able to regurgitate that, verbally back out and be able to communicate with the guys on the sideline about the plays. If they have any questions, they know they can come to me. If it's no responsibilities or a read, and then giving them another set of eyes on what they're getting from the defensive side of the ball. So just to be here and help those guys is cool.
Yeah. One thing I've talked about with all the guys is how cool is it now? Look, And some people like going to class. Hendon, I was never one of them. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and cap in front of everybody. But now it's just football. You wake up in the morning. You don't have to worry about going to study hall or any of that stuff. It is just football. That's got to be kind of cool for somebody that's a football junkie like you.
Super cool. Cool. Now I can just go to football school all day.
There you go. That's a great way. Shoot, Tennessee's turned into the Hogwarts of football when you look at what Josh Heupel's doing. But my last question, what is your why? Why do you do this?
After my faith, my family, for sure. I just want to be a positive light in people's lives, and my family drives me to be the best me I can be every day.
Hendon, it's great to talk to you, man. You got a really bright future. Excited to see where you land, my friend.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
All right, Hendon Hooker, remember him. All right, great stopping and talking with Hendon, a guy that really handles himself and carries himself really, really well. And look, I really do believe that he's the guy. He's the spark, right? I say this all of the time. Okay, whether it's LSU, whether it's a place like Tennessee, you see it around the country. Some places, all they need is a spark. Even Nebraska, I know they're in the middle of nowhere. All right, I get that. But you give them a spark, that brand can go off. There's some golden eggs around college football in places where all they need is a little bit of momentum, and they can turn a molehill into a mountain. But it was great talking with Hendon. He's always bigger than what I think he would be. Taller, a little bit longer. He's not the thickest guy. But David, watching him, I know he couldn't operate physically. He was there taking mental reps, and I think it was a good look for him to come. And I think it shows you the difference. And I know there's different circumstances, all right, in Will Levis, Stetson Bennett, and Hendon Hooker.
Yeah.
Hendon Hooker didn't have to come to this. He can't even play. But Will Levis decides to come in here and say, you know what? I feel like I'm going high enough. I don't want to screw myself over or mess myself up from a draft status standpoint. I'm not going to come. Stetson Bennett is out there not only winning natties, he's drinking them too. So, at this point, I think it's a really good look for Hendon. And in the Game of Thrones, I think he comes out of this smelling better than Stetson Bennett and, honestly, Will Levis, even though Will Levis will go higher than him.
No doubt. I'm shocked that Will Levis didn't decide to come down there and participate and really prove to people that he is the quarterback that at least a faction of the NFL pundits think he's going to be in the league. And don't even get me started on Stetson Bennett. I don't know what's going on there. This kid's not even acting like he wants to go play in the NFL ever since they won the second national championship. But good on Hendon Hooker, man. That was awesome. You guys got that interview. Standing next to him, did you get a sense that he's moving pretty well? Like he's going to recover on time? Like anything with his injury? Did you get insight into that?
Yeah, there was a lot of questions on kind of his rehab and how it was going, but watching him walk around yesterday, he told us he's working out again. He feels really good. He should be jogging by the end of March, so he feels pretty good about where he is. And that's big for NFL teams. They need to know kind of what the timeline is. How are you feeling? Let our doctors get a look at you and things like that. So Hendon, it was phenomenal to see him. He's a great person, even a better person than he is a football player, and that's hard because he's pretty damn good. But I'm going to tell you something else that's pretty damn good, Blaine. Black Rifle Coffee. Look, I wake up in the morning, I choose violence, excellence, and Black Rifle Coffee, and they're on a mission to build a support network for veterans, first responders, and law enforcement by serving you the best coffee you've ever had. You remember that time when Buddy the Elf ran in there and said that they had the world's best cup of coffee in New York? Well, those guys were liars, and we all know it. All right, and thanks to your support, this dream has become a reality. This year alone, Black Rifles donated over 120,000 bags of coffee to veterans and first responders. So if you want to continue supporting this incredible company, go to blackriflecoffee.com. Use our promo code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, at checkout for 10% off your purchase and your first coffee club order. For me, it's Power Llama. I know you're a big gunship guy.
Yep.
Cone, I know you're just surrounded by bags right now.
The battleship area.
You got the bag here.
We're living the gunship life.
Power Llama right here, boys.
It's the move. It's my favorite one. Look,
That's
Power
your favorite
Llama's the
one?
move. You can sit here and lie to people. That's my favorite
you know what?
one.
I did try this weekend with my dad for the first time. I tried the pumpkin spice, the Headless Horseman pumpkin spice.
Really?
I know it's not pumpkin
How was
spice
that?
season, but that's the closest bag we had near us, so we tried it. First of all, it was awesome. Second of all, the Headless Horseman roast. Because with Ichabod Crane, they put the pumpkin on his head. That's high-level naming right there. High-level naming.
It really, look,
it's nicknames in high school.
That's actually our great uncle. Ichabod.
Called me Ichabod for 2 years in high school.
Yeah, that's our great uncle Ichabod. But no, go check that out, blackriflecoffee.com. Use our promo code BOOSTER so you can get the bag while buying a bag. Let's go now. Shout out North Arab.
Let's go to Gibby the Great with a $20 donation. Appreciate it, Gibby. As a huge Vols and Titans fan, do you think Hendon could possibly be picked up by the Titans in the first round? or will he be picked up before then? Love the show, guys.
Well, I appreciate that. And it's times like these where I like to quote the little kid from Angels in the Outfield. It could happen. Why not? Why not if you're Tennessee? Ryan Tannehill, you're not getting there. I'm sorry. Ryan Tannehill, he's a nice, feel-good story. You know, he's not going to put the organization in jeopardy, but you're not winning anything with Ryan Tannehill. Let's be honest, Malik Willis seems like he hasn't proven enough. Now, he hasn't had enough time, I don't think. You got to give him some more time and some more opportunities. But I would love to have a Hendon Hooker, Malik Willis quarterback battle, because you know who wins in the end of that one, in my opinion? The Titans do. Because what's going to get worse than Ryan Tannehill?
We all know.
Ryan Tannehill and Dak Prescott both suffer from the same syndrome. It's the I got here because my legs helped me. Now I'm here, just forget them.
Don't do Dak Prescott. Don't put Dak Prescott in the same rail as Ryan Tannehill.
They both won the same amount of Super Bowls.
Come on.
How many conference championships they won?
Come on. It's not even close.
Okay, Dak Prescott was good when he was running the ball. He got to the NFL and they tried to turn him into Mac Jones, like a pocket passer, and that's not him, baby.
Dak Prescott.
Like Austin
you just
Powers.
want to crap on Dak Prescott.
No,
I get it. But Dak Prescott and Ryan Tannehill aren't in the same boat.
Well, they've won about the same amount.
We all know
they've won about the same amount.
Well, Dak Prescott, he's won the same amount as Tony Romo.
Okay, I don't think Tony Romo's. Who said Tony Romo's this elite quarterback?
I mean, you did off playoff wins. I mean, just so you get the playoff, we're going to measure success just from that.
Look, Dak,
just from that.
I'm
David,
sorry.
Do you think Dak and Ryan Tannehill in the same boat?
I would put Dak ahead of him. I think Dak and Kirk Cousins are a little bit more similar. And I think Derek Carr is like right underneath that is where I would have him.
Okay.
Well, I'm not saying that Ryan Tannehill is better than Dak Prescott or as good. They're similar in them not having success because they changed what they do. Dak Prescott was having success when they were doing what Jalen Hurts is doing for the Eagles. But when you're using the run game to supplement the pass game, because if you're using the quarterback run game, it is true 11 on 11. And I get it. When you come to the NFL, you can't line up and run Q power all the time. You got to do it sometimes. How the hell do you think the Giants had such a good season? Because they could line Daniel Jones up and run power read. They could line him up, run Q power. They could run Q lead. And if I'm the defensive coordinator, I'm for damn sure not going to get my pants pulled down in front of everybody in the high school because I didn't have enough guys in the box. And that helps CeeDee Lamb. That helps Michael Gallup. That helps Dalton Schultz. Hell, that would help me running routes out there for the Cowboys. At the end of the day, Dak Prescott is not going to beat you from the pocket consistently. Ryan Tannehill is not going to beat you from the pocket consistently. Kirk Cousins can beat you from the pocket consistently because that's all he can do. So, again, Derek Carr is similar to Kirk Cousins. I think they basically pointed each other. The only difference is Kirk Cousins doesn't cry at press conferences.
But we all know that Ryan Tannehill is going to be the starter for the Titans week 1.
Do we know that,
We know that.
Mike Vrabel's here. Maybe we can talk him out of it.
The Titans. They're going to start Ryan Tannehill. They're not going to play Malik Willis or even give Malik a chance to really get in the – we go back to Justin Fields.
He'll get a chance.
Justin wasn't out there balling. I mean, win, Dave. If they're already talking about picking up another quarterback, when will Malik?
Well, we're talking about it, not them.
No, okay. If you're talking about get another quarterback, when will Malik get a chance?
Well, I don't think it. I think he's already kind of gotten a chance, right? And then that piggybacks into the offseason. I mean, they drafted the guy. He's going to get a chance to prove that he can be the starting quarterback there. I mean, unless they go, unless they make a major move and go get someone like Hendon Hooker in the draft, or if they were to go completely outside the box and pick up someone like Derek Carr, or if you had a situation where Aaron Rodgers is traded and comes in, then Malik Willis may not get a shot. But if you're talking about just a head-to-head comparison with Ryan Tannehill, the kid's going to get a shot.
Okay, well, I hope I see it this year. I mean, when they brought him in, they barely let him throw the ball. I mean, they're running the ball every play.
Well, they have no weapons either.
Yeah, I mean, that had a little bit to do with him, though, right?
Who's he going to throw it to? Me?
I mean, you have Treylon Burks. You have Robert Woods. I mean, guys who aren't terrible. Treylon's going to be an extremely good receiver, but you got to at least open up the playbook for the kid. I mean, you just can't go set in limited plays and just put him in a box. It's Malik Willis. Sometimes you just got to let him go and do Malik Willis things. I know the Titans, you want to run the ball, play action, and play good defense. That's fine. I get it. But I don't think Malik's gotten enough snaps to really prove whether or not he can make it in the league.
Hold on. Him throwing it three times a game was the Titans opening up the playbook, okay? That's their identity. Handed to Derrick Henry.
You're right. I still don't think they're going to win. I don't think he can win the Super Bowl playing like that.
I do want to give a shout out real quick before I forget. Tyrese yesterday donated. We didn't have a chance to read it. We ran out of time. It was a $5 donation. He said, no one taught y'all to stand up when you shake a man's hand. Obviously, we have to sit down or I'll hit the mic. And also, Blaine, just dap these men up. Those soft handshakes doesn't fit you. Keep it #steady.
Well, look, man, I've been trying to get out on the field all week. You know, I've been trying to run some routes. Like, I looked at some guys. I'm like, maybe. Some DBs in 1-on-1. I was like, maybe. Look, if you don't press
maybe
me,
what?
Maybe 6 out of 10.
Get off the line?
Maybe 6 out of 10 catches.
6 out of 10?
Yeah,
I believe.
Maybe
man.
more. To be honest,
believe. Why don't you just go grab a spare set of pads?
Talking about if you're running bubbles.
You went to high school down there, right? Grab a spare set of pads.
I know where the pads are.
Get
South would let me go in there and get some pads.
What college?
I want to see you line up against Riley Moss, that white-on-white crime.
No, anybody but him.
Anybody but Riley Moss?
He knows what I'm thinking.
All right, we're good. That's true. All right, let's get back to the Booster Club before we move on.
Okay, let's go to Zach Wilson. He says, who's going to be, I know we're going to get to this, all right, but who's going to be the new quarterback for Tampa Bay?
Oh, man, that's going to be such a great segue for 5 big questions. Hold on. Who was that? Zach Wilson?
I was Zach Wilson.
#the Cougar.
Hey, man, you need to be worried about playing.
Yeah, you need to be worried about throwing the ball better for the Jets is what you need to be worried about. It's your credit company right now.
North Arrow Coffee Company with another $20 donation. Appreciate it. He says, pumpkin spice, Michael Knowles is superior. P.S. Coffee in every way. I'm not, the thing about it is like, look, I get the pumpkin spice. Everybody loves it. I'm just not.
I'm not a big pumpkin guy.
I'm not a pumpkin guy.
I'm not a big pumpkin guy.
Not a pumpkin pie guy.
Like pumpkin pie, little whipped cream. I got to be in the mood. Maybe a little bit of cinnamon. Not a big pumpkin spice latte guy. Wasn't a big pumpkin seeds guy. Hell, I don't trust jack-o'-lanterns. If we're going to be 100% honest now. I understand. I'm just not a big pumpkin guy.
All right, let's go to Texas Ed. Does D'Amico Ryans take Will Anderson first to build the roster before getting a quarterback? No,
you got to get a quarterback, and you have a chance for it to be your guy. It was one of the stipulations, I think, one of the reasons why D'Amico ended up taking the job. Not the 6-year contract is massive. At worst case, you get a great buyout. Congratulations, you're rich. How's the lake? Tell us how the weather is. But you also get that and your chance to pick your quarterback, to be able to be tied to your guy. That's why, and I get why Sean Payton took the Broncos job. We talked about it yesterday with the money, and he had the leverage. But Sean Payton is fortunate because he's not tied to Russell Wilson. If Russell Wilson sinks, well, it's Russell Wilson. He was on the decline. It's not Sean Payton. Let's let him go get his guy. If Russell Wilson has success, Sean Payton is the Cesar Millan of quarterbacks. It just, at the end of the day, it's all about the leverage you have in the situation. But I think D'Amico and them need to go ahead and get that quarterback. Look, here's what you need to do. The Bears are going to trade away that first pick. All right? I think they're going to trade away the first pick. Because if they do trade it away, that means somebody's going to get a quarterback, which means if you trade it within the first 5 or 6 picks, Jalen Carter still may be there. Will Anderson Jr. may still be there. You can still get a defensive player and add picks later. But if I'm the Texans, I'm going to get Bryce Young. That's who I am going to get. You're hearing a lot of Texans, C.J. Stroud. To me, that's it. They're running play action on you. This is what you do. I'm not telling you what I am doing. I will tell you C.J. Stroud, and I will go pick Bryce Young. If I'm D'Amico Ryans, you have that Alabama connection there. Give it to the gods. Sometime you got to do that.
All right, let's go to Travis Elrod. He said, did Tom Brady damage his legacy with his final season, Coney?
No, he didn't. I mean, it's not as pristine as it could have been having his first losing season, but he still made the playoffs. He still won the division. And when we look back, we're going to remember 7 Super Bowls, more Super Bowls than any one single franchise. And the biggest thing to me, Jake, is he was able to go get one without Bill Belichick, because that's what everyone always said. Tom Brady's greatness is tied to Bill Belichick's greatness. To be able to go to a franchise, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that they hadn't even made the playoffs for a decade plus since Tom Brady got there, to win that Super Bowl was huge for his legacy. I think this final year, as disappointing as it was, especially with all the family situation and retiring and then unretiring and the divorce, very, very disappointing. I think it will blow over and we will remember the greatness of Tom Brady.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they went from the Succaneers to the Buccaneers. It's amazing with what Tom was able to do. By the way, the old school logo-wise, Tampa Bay's old school orange logos with the pirate with the little sword in his mouth, maybe the best old school logo in sports.
Yeah.
If I know they were terrible during that era, and I know the color scheme is a little bit weird, but if you go back and look at the old school Tampa Bay logo, it's pretty dope. But Coney, let's move on.
All right. So what are you guys' best and worst from the Senior Bowl this week? Offense and defense.
Yeah, well, I'll start with the best. My best was Riley Moss at corner, and we got an interview with him here a little bit later in the show. And look, he's a white guy that plays corner. All right, you don't see that a lot. To be honest with you, I've never seen it in the NFL. I know Jason Sehorn was a dog, but we really don't see it. We see it at safety. It's funny, we talk about, we have two African-American quarterbacks that are playing each other in the Super Bowl, but we don't talk about a white corner that's actually going to play corner in the NFL. But you watch his game, you talk about cerebral. Him and Darius Rush for South Carolina, I was so impressed with because their knowledge mid-play. They understand what's happening to them or what the receiver is trying to do with them. We know they're fast. We know they can jump. They can move. They're good moving side to side, flexible in the hips. You have to have that to be at the Senior Bowl. But what separates them is their ability to read the leverage and set receivers up. Most of the time, receivers are trying to set you up. They're the biggest liars ever. Receivers will push you to one side to get you to another. They will fool you with their eyes. They're great liars. The best receivers are fantastic liars. But it seems like Riley Moss and Darius Rush have kind of went Alan Turing from Bletchley Park, and they've cracked the code. They don't fall for the bait. They keep their leverage, and they dictate how the play ends. I used to tell our DBs all the time, you're going backwards, they're going forwards. It's hard to dictate anything. But if you play your leverage right and you read their keys and you understand the player you're going up against, you can run the route for them. So my best, Riley Moss, Darius Rush, and then my on defense, and then my best on offense, I'm going to go Jonathan Mingo, and I think Tank Dell from Houston has made himself some paper this weekend. Now, he's little, but he's quicker than a hiccup. He reminds me of Richie James. He's a guy that I think is going to be a true slot guy, a returner. His versatility with the ball in his hands, whether it's straight line, whether it's side to side, they couldn't get their hands on him in one-on-ones. And a lot of times when you play the slot, you're off the ball. So they can't really jam you. And we know that in the NFL, hell, they can't whisper at you once you get more than 3 or 4 yards down the field, or it's a penalty, or they throw you in prison, or you're playing DB. So I think Jonathan Mingo's size and his moving ability, I think Jonathan Mingo and Michael Wilson have some similarities in their size and the way they move. But Tank Dell from Houston, I'm telling you, he's a little witch, all right, running around there, pulls the wand out, Spectum Patronus touchdownus.
Mingo's just got that A.J. Brown vibe, too.
He did a little bit shorter,
All
but
come out of Ole Miss
yeah.
looking the same.
Really?
Yeah.
A.J. will be a little bit bigger a body, but yeah, man. They kind of look the same. They kind of move the same.
He's a bully.
He really is. So I'm going to start with the offensive side. I'm going to go Jaden Reed from Michigan State.
Yeah.
There you go.
This kid, the year before this, he had over 1,000 yards. We know what Michigan State was last year. But this kid, first of all, you couldn't touch him in a phone booth. Mm-hmm. All right, he's 6'1", 190 pounds. When it comes to get-offs with DBs, one-on-ones with DBs, his routes, from a fundamental standpoint and a technique standpoint, were absolutely stunning. He's running 20 miles per hour, which is absolutely flying. He's basically a car. So this kid made him some money. And another one that I like was Tajay Spears from Tulane.
Yeah, he looked
Every
good.
time I looked at this kid, he was 20 to 25 yards down the field running the football. Had a great day, a great 2 days in team, but he can tell he's a 3-down back, which is huge when it comes to the league, but he's extremely good at pressing gaps when it comes to running back, making people commit when they overcorrect. He hits the cutback, which is what you need in an NFL running back. I think he's going to be a good pickup. Then I'm going to go to the defensive side. This kid from Boise State, I think it's J.L. Skinner.
I don't know what he is, but he's something.
6'5", 225. You can put him at safety. You can put him at nickel. Extremely fluid when it comes to the game. Understands the game. Understands offenses. You put a little weight on him. He's one of those guys. He kind of reminds me of Isaiah Simmons. From
I like that comp.
That guy who plays for the Arizona Cardinals. He's one of those do-it-all guys. I'm excited to see him. And a little hometown action right here. I think Derek Hall looked phenomenal. Mm-hmm. One of the best D linemen I've seen come on the field. The impact. You knew where Derek Hall was every play. From the point of attack, his hands, playing with leverage, and everything Derek Hall did was so violent to D line. When it comes to one-on-ones, Derek Hall is going to be a problem in the NFL. Just another addition to the Auburn D line running around the NFL.
He may have, and look, Will Anderson's the best pass rusher, I think, coming out this year. But Derek Hall may have the best long arm of anybody coming out of college football this year. And he brings it to work every day. That long arm, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, when you rush the passer and you're able to extend those guys out and bully them into the quarterback, Derek Hall, he gets his hands underneath you. You might as well go ahead and write the recipe because you're cooked, my friend. Another guy, speaking of Tulane, Dorian Wilson at Mike. Mm-hmm. I mean, they clocked him at almost 20 miles per hour. And he's coming downhill. I'm talking about luge style, and gets the game. And having him and Tajay, it's been a great showing for Tulane. But Blaine, talking about the Skinner kid, I'm shocked that he's 225. He looks like he could be 400 pounds and it looked like he was 250.
Yeah.
I mean, that kid is
legit 6'5".
Legit 6'5".
Wow.
I mean, can tie his shoes without bending over. Was shocked that he was 225. He could wear 265 like it was 235, which to me, if I'm an NFL team and I'm looking at guys that are versatile, right? Guys that can do multiple things, they had him playing safety. They had him walked up on the end of the line of scrimmage. I mean, Cone, that this guy was a Swiss Army knife. And once they kind of carve out a role for him, which I don't think you limit what he can do, but you limit a little bit of what he focuses on, I think he has a chance to be special. So there's some guys down here, I think some prospects that people will look kind of as projects that could end up being really good players. And the worst, when we talk about it's tough to pick a worst, but I would say probably the quarterback, wide receiver timing and chemistry, which is what you expect. So I'm going to say the weather. I'm going to say the weather, the fog has been the worst. And then the worst is that we have to leave because, it's just football 24/7.
Yeah, I really wasn't impressed that much with Jaron Hall yesterday.
Okay. I agree with that.
There's certain things when it comes to team, he didn't really look that well. The accuracy wasn't there. The timing wasn't there. And obviously when it comes to timing with receiver, it takes time to get that right. So it was a little bit better the second day than it was the first day, but I don't think he's really impressed anybody since he's been down here. And you can kind of throw Jake Haener in that same boat. I do feel like Jake had a better day yesterday. Max Duggan looked well.
Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, Tyson Bagent from Shepherd.
He's going to be a problem.
And we interviewed the kid after. His dad's the one who's like the famous arm wrestler. I'm just telling you, there's something about this kid. Like the ball explodes out of his hand. But he's not just a fastball thrower. He was able to throw the changeup. Yeah. I mean, he had all the pitches, and we talked about that in an interview with him that we're going to run this week. So keep your eye on Tyson Bagent. I think his stock went up a lot from where he was when he got here, really commanded the offense, commanded the huddle, whether they were running play action stuff, the ball handling was good, they were running reverses, off play action stuff. So there was a lot more good than there was bad, David. But speaking of good, I want to go ahead and get to this Riley Moss interview. I think you're going to enjoy it. We call him Haru, the Great White Ninja.
Exception.
Please enjoy the footage. All right, we are here with Iowa corner Riley Moss. Riley, number one, it's great to talk to you, man. Enjoyed watching you play all year. Love the way you play the game. And I gotta ask, have you ever heard of Haru, the Great White Ninja?
No, never.
Well, that's you, 100%. You need to watch Beverly Hills Ninja and check it out. I promise you know what I'm saying. But honestly, man, you look at the position you play and the way that you play it, and how technical you are and fundamental you are. Using those things that you learned at Iowa and now going to the next level, coming out here in the Senior Bowl, what's one thing you learned today that maybe you didn't know coming in here?
I'd say, like off coverage, they're teaching a scooch technique here. We really didn't have that at Iowa, but learning that and having that in your toolbox is nice for, the NFL.
So, hey, growing up, were you always playing DB? Was it QB or wide receiver in DB? Have you always kind of played different things? Because you're a versatile athlete. You can do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so mainly corner. In high school, I played corner and receiver. And then, I returned kicks and punts. And then in college, special teams and corner.
Yeah, playing at Iowa, you think of Iowa now and you think about defense, you think about great tackling, you think about guys flying to the football. What was it like playing in that program, looking at where it's at now, and Iowa continues to play well defensively? I mean, they're becoming one of the premier defensive teams in college football. How much does that mean to you to have been a part of that? I heard you say leave the jersey better than you found it. Shoot, defensively, you guys did that.
Yeah, it's kind of the tradition at Iowa, and I grew up an Iowa fan. I went to games, since I was a little kid with my dad. There's some great Iowa defensive football players that went through there, and that's what I was trying to emulate, and that's what I was trying to be. And as a defense at Iowa, I think everyone bought in, and that's why we saw so much success.
When you get invited to the Senior Bowl and you're going to have a chance to play at the next level, how early do you start working on your celebration after a turnover? I mean, you just going to get all the guys in the end zone, or do you got anything special planned?
My dad said, act like you've been there before, and, that's what I've kind of done throughout my career, and that's what I'm going to keep doing until, you never arrive. So I'm just going to, keep it vanilla for now.
Riley, appreciate talking to you. Love watching you play ball, man. Keep it up.
Thank you very much.
Riley Moss, Iowa DB, corner extraordinaire. If you don't know who Haru the Great White Ninja is, and you have not seen Chris Farley in Beverly Hills Ninja, I feel sorry for you, number one. And number two, you can find it somewhere. Go watch it. It's got him. It's got Chris Tucker. It is an absolutely hilarious movie.
Look, we need a guy at DB.
We need one.
We need a white DB. All right.
Well, corner. There's Harrison Smith. There's guys safety and nickel. Like corner, like true corner.
Like, the exception. He is the unicorn, right?
Yeah.
And he's good. Like, he's like, look, guys, we're not gassing him up just to gas him up. The kid can
he's
play.
nice. Ask anybody that knows anything.
The kid can absolutely play. Like, he was out there most of the day when we were watching him play, but I can't wait. Where does he end up at?
Yeah, that's what I was
If you had
gonna
to
ask.
pick a team.
You know.
Patriots?
For sure.
It's the Patriots.
Look at Bill's like, can you imagine? Can you imagine Bill Belichick? They're like, he gets a call. It's like from one of the scouts. They're like, listen, Bill, this white kid at corner, Riley Moss, is really nice. He's like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me there's a white kid that's out there playing corner? I think it's absolutely outstanding. That's the type of guy I fall in love with. That's the type of guy I fall in love with. Speaking about falling in love, though, Cone, I want to move on because this next segment I'm really excited about.
Well, speaking about Bill Belichick, he said some things about Tom Brady's retirement, right? We had some inside sources on different celebrities around the country who have responded to Tom Brady's retirement.
Yes.
And I think you were able to get a quote from Coach Belichick, right?
Yeah. I got 2 quotes about Tom Brady's retirement. These are statements that, I was surprised to read. But I found them, and I wanted to share them with our audience. Bill Belichick on Tom Brady retiring says, I'm happy for Tom. Glad he was a part of our system here, and even though our breakup was uglier than his and Giselle's, he's still like a son to me. Now, he wouldn't be my favorite son, but we wouldn't treat him like Dudley and them treated Harry Potter. Now he can stop just eating leaves like Littlefoot off Land Before Time. I feel like that was a subtle shot. I feel like it was a subtle shot.
Disrespectful.
But look,
Coach
Bill's
Belichick.
being Bill here, and that's 100% true. So Bill Belichick, he commented on it, and then former NFL quarterback, a guy that's got a lot of respect for Tom Brady, Tony Romo, had a quote that I found fascinating, especially the end of this. Tony says to Tom Brady, "Great career, Tom. Don't worry about getting into broadcasting. You've already one-upped me like 7 different times on the field. Can I please have my turn? Look, we both dated supermodels, so I will now invoke the right of the Shamak and Ra. You can now not become a broadcaster." So Tony Romo.
Wow,
Yeah, Tony Romo, Bill
said
Belichick. Tony said that with a smile on his face. Yeah. Look, it's I think it's for real for Tom, but just two high-profile guys there making some remarks. I think you had some quotes, too.
Yeah, I got a quote from Robert Kraft. He said, "Baby, come back. You can blame it all on Bill." Let's be honest. Tom won one. Tom's the guy. And since Tom's left, well, what has the Patriots done? I'll wait.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll wait. I got time. I got about 30 more minutes. They've done nothing. So, Bill, I don't really know. It might be your fault. The next one, it's not really a quote, but it's just for his son, right? If his sons ever get in trouble, or his kids in general, right, he can always pull the card of, do you know who my dad is?
Yeah.
Do you know who my dad is?
For Tom Brady, that's just
goat.
Can you imagine if somebody did know that was Tom Brady's son? They're like, you hoodlums need to get out of here and stop doing that. And yeah, well, all right, well, I'm just going to tell my dad. And they're like, wait, who is your dad? He's like, oh, it's Tom Brady.
Yeah, you can get away with
how
murder.
rich Tom Brady is so rich that money doesn't even matter anymore. I think you get so rich that people just don't make you pay for things anymore. It's just a waste of time. Right? Why am I going to give you my debit card or pay you cash? I'm good for it. Mm-hmm. You think if Elon Musk walks into any store, why would you even charge him for anything? You're so rich, you don't even have to pay for it anymore.
I'll just thank Elon Musk every time I see him. Like, look, man, if there's ever room on the ship, if the poles start changing,
Yes. If the world's ending, there's one guy I know that's definitely getting out,
should be able to get us
and that's Elon Musk. Yeah, David, you should be able to get us on. You should be able to impersonate Elon to get us on.
You're double.
It's a good strategy, and I got you, boys. And I was able to get a couple quotes here as well. First one from Todd Bowles.
Yep, okay.
First one for Todd Bowles here. Congratulations.
Really?
Yeah, congratulations to Tom Brady. It was a pleasure to coach you. On a completely unrelated note, we're still looking for an offensive coordinator. We'd love for you to fill the position. And take all of the snaps, but you definitely wouldn't be playing quarterback, quote unquote. So Todd Bowles, I think, still looking for Tom Brady to be the OC there.
Yeah, Todd Bowles may be looking for a job soon, too.
Yeah. Did you guys hear the statement that LeBron James put out on Tom Brady's retirement? I was able to work some sources and get LeBron James' statement here for you.
God, I love it when you work sources.
You got to work sources. He says, big congrats to TB12. When I was 14, I saw Tom Brady at Michigan, and I told Bronny, that man isn't going to win 5 Super Bowls. He's not not going to win 6 Super Bowls. He's going to win 7, and it's crazy that I was right about that. Brady is truly the GOAT, and I would know a thing or two. I would know a thing or two about what it takes to be the greatest of all time because I used to watch Michael Jordan play.
Cone, that was the best one. That was the best one. So there it is. I want to say this too about the guy that came on and was talking about Tom Brady. He's not the best regular season quarterback or the best Super Bowl quarterback. Look, I get it, man. I get it. You're up there with Stephen A. and Mad Dog, and you got to say something that maybe go against the grain of everybody else, right? You're kind of shock jockey. But like, at what point does when people start saying stuff, does it just get so ridiculous that you can never take them serious anymore? This man said that Joe Montana was a better Super Bowl quarterback than Tom Brady. What? What? Look at the Super Bowls. He's the numbers Tom Brady has makes Joe Montana look like Hannah Montana when it comes to the football field. It's not even close. And people and he said, "Oh, he's not the best regular season quarterback." Yes, he is. Because guess what? Let me give you a hint here, Mike. And I know why you're doing this. I get it. I know who you work for. But to get to the Super Bowl, you got to do pretty good in the regular season. To get to the Super Bowl, you got to win playoff games. You don't just play a couple games and then play the Super Bowl. And again, I get it. Everybody's saying Tom Brady's the GOAT because he is. You want to know why everybody's saying it? Because it's the truth. Because it's the truth. You want to know why tornadoes are bad? Because it's the truth. Because they kill people. And somehow just specifically always hit mobile homes and trailer parks. But that's a story for another day. It's just, I thought that was the dumbest thing. It's like at the end on Billy Madison. It's like, at no point in your rambling, incoherent response did you resemble anything that looks like a rational thought. We are all now dumber from having listened to you. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. To say Tom Brady is not the best Super Bowl quarterback, or the best quarterback of all time, or the best regular season quarterback, is like just walking outside and screaming at clouds. You're accomplishing nothing and getting nothing done. It makes no sense to me.
Well, the thing about it is, like, we're never going to see another thing like Tom Brady.
I don't know.
We're never going to see
Patrick Mahomes
for the amount of games for amount of games that he's played, the amount of years that he's played in the National Football League, the amount of Super Bowls that he went to. I don't think we'll ever see this again. It's kind of in the Saban boat. It really is. I don't think we'll ever see someone like Nick Saban again coaching. We'll never see someone like Tom Brady again playing. I think we'll get to maybe Patrick. I don't know. The thing about it is this. The NFL quarterbacks right now are extremely young. The best ones are extremely young. Patty, Josh Allen, Joey B., Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson. It's a young quarterback game right now, a young man's quarterback game in the NFL. But I don't think – I see the guy's argument. All right, I see what he's saying. But I don't think you'll ever see something else like Tom Brady again in the NFL. I really don't.
The odds are not very high, but if anybody can do it, Patrick Mahomes and them are giving themselves a chance to go to a lot of Super Bowls, and I don't think Andy Reid's putting down the milk and cookies anytime soon. If anybody could get close – or have a chance. Patrick's come in the league and won the division 5 years in a row? He's given himself a chance. But winning 7 Super Bowls, you have more Super Bowls than any of the franchises. It's not even an argument. It's not even remotely close to an argument. I'm not going to go argue with Merriam-Webster about how many words there are, okay? I'm not doing that when it comes down to it. I'll let you make the dictionary, #I believe it, all right? So I'm not going to sit here and trash Tom Brady, but Tom may be looking for a new job, okay? And the Tampa Bay Bucks, look like they may need to hire somebody, all right? So whether you're growing your own business, whatever you got going on, you have to make every dollar count. Don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates with the right skills when you can do it all with Indeed. It's 2023. Use the internet. Don't just walk outside and look for people. Find top talent fast with Indeed's suite of powerful hiring tools like Indeed Instant Match assessments and virtual interviews. Sponsor a job and Boom Instant Match shows you candidates whose resumes on Indeed fit your job description immediately after your post. That's why with Indeed, you only pay for quality applications that match your job requirements. So visit Indeed.com. This is the most important part. Indeed.com/Crane. That's CRAIN. Indeed.com/Crane to start hiring now. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed.com Crane. I heard Tom Brady actually went on Indeed.
Indeed.
To go find a job, but I indeed want to go to the Booster Club.
Okay, let's go to Caitlin Everett, the lovely Caitlin Everett, $10 donation.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Caitlin. Can someone please explain to me why Houston can only have one pro team doing well at a time? Also, love what y'all are doing. You guys make me love sports again. Well, that's our main mission.
That's our main mission. Look, Houston, and I'm just thinking about this from a college and recruiting standpoint. Houston, to me, is kind of like the state of Georgia when it comes to recruiting. You have great players in all sports, but when you look at pro teams, that's obviously different. You're grabbing players from every area. Sometimes you'll grab some hometown guys. It's a great story. You look at what the Braves are doing. They kind of fall in that same funnel. Some guys really believe in that. But when I look, the Astros have been dominating. I know that's who you're talking about. The Texans, to me, it just seems like it's one gaffe after another. It seems like Houston just cannot consistently get a winner. You go all the way back to David Carr. I mean, drafted him early. It seems like the Texans just can't get the mix right. Now, will they eventually? Yes, football's cyclical. Everybody's time comes around. I mean, if you were to sit here and tell me that certain teams will be winning championships in any of the sports, I mean, we've had teams in hockey that are from Florida win the NHL, the Stanley Cup. Yeah. So any organization, if you get the right people in there, you get the mix right to have a chance. So you look at the Astros. The Rockets is the one that continues to baffle me. Houston should be. Well, I know they're young. I love Jabari Smith Jr. I love Jalen Green. I like the small pieces. But it just seems to me like the Rockets, like Houston would be a great basketball city. Right? Doesn't it just seem, you think about Hakeem Olajuwon. Hell, I even go back to Houston, in college basketball. They're one of the best teams. Traditionally, they're a really, really good team. Mm-hmm. So I know it's frustrating. At least you got one out of the three. There's some major cities that have nothing. Imagine being Detroit. Okay, the Lions, you're feeling good about it now, but they haven't won anything. Hell, they don't even get to hang out with the witch in the wardrobe anymore. They've been so bad. You look at the Red Wings, well, they used to be good.
Pistons used to be good.
So it could be a lot worse. Count your blessings when you got them. The Astros just continue to dominate, and I don't see them slowing down anytime soon. But we'll see here with the Rockets. But just remember, it could always be worse.
All right, let's go to Steve's Action Figure Frenzy, and I appreciate you changing that name, Steve. Don't think I forgot.
Yeah.
All right, $10 donation. She says, I'm returning to the trust tree after a lengthy absence. That's fine. Take all the time you need, buddy. That's what the trust tree is about. Yes, Blaine. I am the guy who changed his YouTube name just for you.
Yes.
Congrats to the Comb for the new baby.
Yes.
And never forget, Archie Griffin is the best.
Look, here's my thoughts. Number one, Archie Griffin was a great player. He's a great player. Not going down that road. I didn't get to see him live. Mm-hmm. Okay, I really be in that. Watch him do his thing, and even you can see highlights, but I need some like real highlight, like 2023 style highlights where I can see it. Now, when it comes down to you coming back, I appreciate that. Sometimes guys, look. Sometimes it may need some time. You got to step away. There's so much trust in here. There's a lot of big trust. All right, and that brings a lot of pressure. Sometimes people need to take a couple days. Now, we don't recommend it. We think it makes you better to stay in here every day. But, Steve, sometimes you got to step away and come back. Look what it did for Michael Jordan. So this could be your Michael Jordan story. Now, you didn't go off and be bad at baseball, but you just took a little time and came back, changed that name on YouTube. We really appreciate it.
All right, let's go to Travis Elrod. What up, Travis? He says, do you think CBX or Fox would replace Tony Romo or Troy Aikman with Tom Brady as their number one broadcaster? Look, Peyton left. Sean Payton left.
Yeah.
There's an opening there.
There's been a vacuum created. I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Brady started his own channel.
Doesn't he have his own podcast?
Yeah, he's on it's like Let's Go or something with like Jim Gray, who just puts me to sleep. Man, that man puts me to sleep. I tell you what, if you have sleeping trouble, just turn on anything where Jim Gray's talking. Because the takes aren't really spicy. Yeah. He's like sometimes I just feel like I'm listening to him and it's just like, he's trying to put me to sleep. It's like your granddad reading you an old story. But look, it would be Fox, in my opinion, right? Wouldn't it be Fox?
Yeah, it would have to be.
It would have to. Tony Romo does a hell of a job.
Only I'm saying, like, we're getting into the area now where Tom Brady might become a broadcaster. You can bet all the money in the world when Nick Saban retires, that man's going to become a broadcaster.
Yeah, but when's he going to retire, though, at 106?
Yeah, I know. But you're telling me you want to talk about a 2:30 SEC game, Alabama versus who, and Nick Saban's in the box talking? You want to talk about a game I've paid more attention to than ever.
No, that's when I'll leave the volume up. Can you imagine going from Vern Lundquist and I can't think of an old boy's name right now with him to Nick Saban? And listen, everybody gives Vern Lundquist was good, but why do we act like it's like the coaches every time I watch college basketball. Every coach is great. Every coach is great in college basketball. It doesn't matter. They could be. I heard somebody say Kenny Payne was doing a great job at Louisville. What? I know y'all are all buddies. I know y'all are. Sometimes people are good at their job, or they're just okay. Vern Lundquist was just okay. Just because you have a job for a long time doesn't make you great at that job. I think we fall in that sometimes where it's like, all right, well, you've obviously done this so long, you must be the best ever at it. There's been people, it's like, if that's the case, then everybody who worked for the government, which you can't fire anybody who works for the government, they'd all be the best people ever at their job. But that's not how it works. Have you ever been to the DMV?
All right, let's go to Jessup Polk. This for you, Coney. Does Tom Brady become the next head coach at Michigan after Harbaugh goes to the NFL?
That's a good question. I wonder if he has any desire to coach and to get on the recruiting trail. He could. You can't hear me?
I can hear him. Okay.
You can hear me? I wonder if he has any desire.
Keep talking. I can hear you.
I wonder if he has any desire to coach or to hit the recruiting trail. To Blaine's point, this guy has so much money. Is there any desire to do anything? And our director Trey was just telling me he did sign a deal with Fox last year. It was like $375 million for 10 years or something like that. So look, he's going to be able to do whatever he wants. On the Nick Saban point, yeah, Nick Saban might get in the broadcast booth. I just think he might be governor of Alabama or something before that. So.
Yeah, he's going to go from coaching Alabama to running for president. My thing with Tom Brady is how cool of it, how great of a position would it be to say, you know what, I'm going to turn down that 10-year, $375 million contract just because I'm going to go back and play another year. It'll always be there. Must be nice, man. That must be nice. I wouldn't turn down $375 million for anything. There's not one thing outside of, there's a couple things.
What?
There's maybe a couple things.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I see what we're getting at right now.
No.
And you better not.
No.
I don't know when you do it.
Things.
I don't know when
he said there was nothing.
It'd be by poison.
He said there was nothing.
It'd be by poison. You wouldn't suffer.
I smell everything.
No. Well, that or carbon monoxide.
Does this smell like chloroform?
Huh? Does it smell like chloroform?
Yeah. All right, let's go to Jimbo Sliced Bread with a $5 donation. He wants to know, does Deuce Robinson play tight end for UGA, go to a college that let him play both sports, or just go straight to the MLB? Love the show, Jimbo. Ooh. Love you. And I love sliced bread, too. I'm a big white guy, not a wheat guy, though. Okay?
Big white bread guy.
White bread. Yeah, don't.
Well, technically, you're a big white guy, too.
That is true.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. That's it.
Those aren't lies. Hey, what'd I tell you about hitting me?
$375 million.
Well, then, yeah, guess what decision just got made? Wait. Again, it's so circumstantial.
Yeah.
Here's the thing when it comes down to NFL and Major League Baseball. You don't have to go through a minor league system in the NFL. I get that. It is not easy to go from, even if you start in AA ball, it is not easy to go from AA ball to Major League Baseball. But the amount of time that you can play, and I think your odds are better with Major League Baseball. Now, again, it's all circumstantial and who's the player. Are you more of a project in baseball that you're a legitimate proven commodity in football? Is it vice versa? Typically, you're somewhat of a project in baseball and you're dominant in football and they're willing to take a chance on you like that. To me, I feel like you go the baseball route, but that's just me. Like my father did not want me to play football. He just wanted me to play baseball just because the longevity, if you make it long enough, you can play a lot longer in Major League Baseball than you can lining up at running back or tight end in the NFL, but it's all circumstantial. There's no guarantees if you go to the minors that you're going to make it to the majors. You get drafted in the NFL, they spend money on you, they're going to give you a shot. All right, because they don't want to look stupid, one, and they don't want to waste money on an investment that didn't work out for them. So I think it's circumstantial, but we'll see what the kid decides.
All right, let's go to Steve Action Figure Frenzy with a $10 donation.
Stevie's back.
I love Stevie when he's in here. You can't prove a counterfacial, so you can't see what Archie Griffin would have done today, and you can't see what someone from today would have done back then.
I know.
2 Heisman trophies, enough said.
Enough said.
I'll say this, all right? This might be a controversial take, but the thing about it is this. Players are it's a lot harder to win stuff today than it is back then, just from a player's athletic standpoint.
I agree with that.
I mean, it's just the truth. It's just the truth. Obviously, there's obviously arguments when it comes to it. I just think it's harder to win now, right? Because everything around sports and athletics is so much better where it comes to the play calling, the athletes, the training, just everything in general in a nutshell.
Steve, you're my boy. All right, but I'm going to drop some truth on you. Archie Griffin's not even the best Archie in sports. Archie Manning was. I feel like Archie Manning was a better player than Archie Griffin was. Look, I know he won a couple Heismans. It's a cool story.
He won
all
a
right?
couple
But I feel like
Heismans.
Archie Manning's done more. Think about it. What is Archie? Not only did Archie, I know he didn't have a ton of success in the NFL. We know what he was in college. It's not like Archie Griffin had a ton of success in the NFL. But look at how he's affected the sport. Peyton, Eli, Coop, Arch, little Arch. I don't see little Arch Griffin running around out there.
Oh, man.
All right,
I
and
would
I'll take you one further. Archie Griffin's my third favorite Archie in sports in general. Archie Manning, Archie Diacono from Villanova. Love
Oh,
watching
my
that kid
goodness.
ball. There's like 9 of them.
Disrespectful. It's disrespectful.
No, Archie Griffin's better than Archie Diacono. But I'm taking Archie Manning over Archie Griffin.
I'll take 2 Heisman trophies any day of the week. Blaine would take the very first 2 Heisman trophies ever minted, and he would stunt on everybody. You would never hear the end of it. It doesn't matter if it's 1936.
I think we lost. There he is.
Can you hear me? It wouldn't matter if it's 1936.
Yeah, I
Blaine
can
would
hear
be
you.
taking both Heisman trophies everywhere he went.
Yeah. That's hilarious. All right.
All right, let's go to Ryan Gay with a $5 donation. He says, I'm hashtag Team Cone. What Blaine did was actually like sliding his second base, technically legal, but still a dirty play.
I love the way you put that.
First of all,
We're gonna get
Ryan,
into it. Let's get.
First
let's
of
hold
all,
on.
no. First of all, okay. Stop putting an E at the end of my name. I've established this many times in the Booster Club.
No, keep putting
It's Blain.
Keep putting
I
it.
understand your take. That's fine.
Keep
all right?
putting it.
I'm about winning. That's what I like doing. I like winning things. Okay. You could cry and complain. That's fine. Send a letter, write a letter, call the commissioner. I don't care. All right. I just like winning. And I'm glad I can't hear Cone for whatever he's about to cry about in the next 5 minutes. But that's what I'm about.
Well, here's again. If you don't know what happened, y'all know we do the bets every month, and we do the who wins the bets every month. And it came down to where it was really tight, and Blaine was in the lead, so he was just going to trail Cone's bets. Therefore, whatever he couldn't lose, which. You know it's a good strategy. Cone, I'll say this. You know it's a smart strategy when we have to make a rule to prevent it from happening again. He found a loophole. What did Trump say about taxes? Y'all get mad at me, I'm not paying my taxes? Sorry, I'm a good businessman and found a loophole. So now we know. Now we know there's rules that have been put in place.
No
building the parachute on the way down.
No rules
Was it a little bit cheap?
No rules now. No. There are no rules now.
So you're going the opposite?
Huh?
You're going opposite. You're going back to Wild Wild West. Why would we not
Wild Wild
continue
West.
to make rules to make it better?
See, that's the thing is the very first person who stole, someone else's food from their neighbor, there didn't need to be a law before then. And you just knew, hey, you don't steal from your neighbor. And then somebody was like, it would be a good strategy.
Yeah, that's
My
the same thing
neighbor
for
will go
sure,
out and do the hunting. I'll steal his food. Then you had to make a law. No rules now. I have all sorts of strategies that can be implemented. So we'll get to that. But
good.
But look,
that's
look,
good.
look.
I think you should.
I'm not mad at Blaine. Blaine won the month. It's all good. I never said he didn't win the month, by the way. I was under the impression we had to come in and make our bets on the show. I didn't know we could make them hours after and analyze what the other people picked. That was my problem with it. And I think, the Booster Club is fairly aligned with that,
Well, it's funny.
I saw a poll yesterday from the Crane Company betting account.
Even Reed asked me. She called me after. I always call her after the show. She was like, "Hey, are David and Blaine like legitimately mad at each other?" I was like, no.
Oh, he's dead to me.
That was real. What you
he's
saw
dead to
yesterday.
me.
That was
Well, the
real.
thing I was like, I've been dead inside for so long. You think I care?
Yeah, I was going to say,
Like,
how do you kill what's dead inside?
Look, just win, baby. That's what it's about. It's about winning.
No, but that was real. That was real pure emotion. But I mean, look, when your friends, basically brothers like we all are. I mean, sometimes you're going to have arguments. We're all competitive, especially when it comes to the trust tree.
Well, I do want to get to 5 big
questions.
I have to explain to Laura Brown, because Laura Brown keeps saying that his picks weren't the same. Look, he parlayed my picks. Actually, they weren't the same. I took Alabama minus 14.5. He took a money line. It's kind of like this, and Laura Brown wouldn't understand this because she is a classy, upstanding lady. But for some of us, not necessarily in this room, but some people used to cheat off other people's, work when they would take a test in school. Again, not me necessarily. But when you did that, you can't copy the work exactly. You got to change it up just a little bit, but you still get all the same answers. That's essentially the game that was played there. But I digress. You want 5 big questions, you said.
Yeah, let's get 5 big questions. I got the funniest. I got caught cheating on a geometry test in like 10th grade.
Well, I left TCU out of the bet just for you, Cone. And 2, even if I would have lost that bet, I still would have won.
I'll tell that story at the end of the show today. It's pretty funny. All right, let's get to 5 big questions.
All right. Well, look, we were talking about the Buccaneers. I need to know who's going to start at quarterback for the Bucs next season now that Tom Brady has retired.
Man, you got to give Kyle Trask a shot, right? Right? You got to give him a little bit of a shot. I mean, look, I get to the point, Cone, where it's like, all right, are we to the point where we say, you know what? Let's give Kyle Trask a chance. Let's give Gabbard a chance. And you know what? If we're terrible, that's fine. We'll go get a top pick in next year's draft that is absolutely loaded to the teat with quarterbacks. Like, it's almost a kind of a hidden win-win, right? Like, why would you go out there and make all these moves and try and bring in either a journeyman quarterback, like try and go get an Andy Dalton or somebody like that, or go make a big move? I don't think they go try and bring in Aaron Rodgers or somebody like that. I think you say, look, here's what we have. All right. Worst case scenario, it's a disaster. Where's the FEMA trailers? That's fine. Let's get a top 3 pick and go get Drake May or Caleb Williams or one of these guys that has the ability to move us up, because I don't think they're going to make a move to get a quarterback in this year's draft. I think you let Kyle Trask see if he can handle it. If he can't and you have a horrible year, that's fine. You're right up on the dock with having a chance to get a quarterback that next year, and it's not technically tanking.
No, I agree. Well, the thing about it is, like, Bucks, at this point, I think it's start over time. It's start over. I mean, I think it's start over time. I don't think your defense is obviously not the same with what it was. I don't think you're going to get a big name. I don't think Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr is going to go to the Bucks.
You have pieces to move.
That. You have pieces to move. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bucks start to rebuild. You're a little bit old on defense, right? You do have good pieces at the linebacker position, but up front you're not as good as what you used to be. I think it's time for the Bucks. Maybe pawn some people off, get some picks, go find that next guy at quarterback, and I think that's going to be in the draft, kind of what Jake was saying, in next year's draft, with the amount of depth there is at the quarterback position.
Yeah, and Cone, they're to the point. You just won a Super Bowl, right?
Yes.
So it's, what do they say in politics? Promises made, promises kept?
Yeah.
Now, since I did this thing I told you I was going to do, we're going to burn this SOB down and start it from scratch. Sometimes you need to have a garage sale to make enough money to buy that new furniture.
Yeah,
Quid
and
pro quo, Scott.
It's Tampa Bay. It's not like New York City or Los Angeles. That one Super Bowl in Tampa Bay is going to last for a while. That will be remembered. So I think that they could go several different directions here and have success. I still think it's Kyle Trask's time. Maybe he ends up being a bust in the NFL, but we haven't seen it, because right after he got drafted, Tom Brady came to town. We could be dealing with a situation here where Kyle Trask, who had a lot of success at the University of Florida, got to sit behind the greatest of all time. Who knows what he's capable of? I think we're going to find out sooner rather than later. And he still has weapons on the offensive side. You get that offensive line, just get the offensive line back to above average and put some defensive pieces around in the draft. I still think that this team can do something in the postseason and not have to blow it up. If they do want to blow it up, like I said, though, you just won a Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. That'll be remembered for a while. All right, next.
Hey, if it's me and Kyle Trask is the guy, I'm going to get Kyle Pitts from Atlanta. Let's get the band back together.
Go somewhere. Atlanta's not going to use him. All right, next question here. Mike McCarthy has said he will call plays next season for the Cowboys. Is this a good move, and how many more seasons will Mike McCarthy be the head coach in Dallas?
Man, this to me is one of the follow the bouncing balls on the Disney Channel moment, right? Or follow the oh God, we got the Hogwarts map. I'm seeing the footsteps. You want to know, when do guys decide they want to call the plays? Think about every instance where a head coach has decided, you know what, I'm going to call the plays. Not a guy who's always called the plays, who you just hired that's going to call the plays, all right? Or not a guy who's usually called the plays that just got the head coach job who's not calling the plays. A guy who used to call plays that became a head coach who stopped calling plays and now he was calling plays again. I'll give you a hint. That doesn't happen after good things happen. It only happens when that guy feels his feet is to the fire, right? Because at the end of the day, if I'm going to get fired, I'm going to get fired because I called bad plays. I don't want to get fired because this guy called bad plays. So this isn't a case of Mike McCarthy's doing so good that he's going to call the plays. What I think is he realized that if his ass don't win a ring next year or get close to winning a ring, closer than what they got this year, they're going to fire him back to the sitcom dad role that he came from. So to me, I get it. I would do the same thing. If I felt like my ass was on the line, I am going to call the plays. So I think this is kind of foreshadowing, right, of where the Cowboys are in a certain area with Mike McCarthy. I think it's next year or bust. I think it's next year or bust for Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys. That's why I was somewhat surprised that Sean Payton went ahead and took the job with the Broncos. But for getting in between 20 and 25 million and being able to have all the leverage and not being responsible for what happens with Russell Wilson, I get it. But I think he was waiting on that Cowboys job. I think he thought McCarthy was going to get fired this year. I think McCarthy got close to being fired. So now he's going to call the plays to try and save his own ass. That's the way that I look at it.
Blaine?
First of all, let's go ahead and get this right. Kellen Moore wasn't the problem, right? He
No,
wasn't the problem. We know where the ceiling was, right? And the reason why they didn't beat the 49ers, because when you get deep in the playoffs, right, a lot of these teams are equal, and you got to have a guy at quarterback that can take you over the top. Dak Prescott's not that guy. You saw that. So they're going to keep Dak around. Heard he's getting an extension, which is not surprising. And they keep Mike McCarthy around. This is Jerry Jones to a T. The reason why the Cowboys aren't winning Super Bowls is because of Jerry Jones. That is why. It's nothing else. He's the guy standing in the doorway to the path to the Super Bowl. So as long as Jerry Jones is the coach of the Cowboys, I will say this. The owner, well, hell, he's the owner, coach, basically anything. He's everybody's best friend. He's the reason why they will not win the Super Bowl, because these are players that you want a good relationship, but these aren't your buddies. You have to get guys in here that can take you to the top. Let's not act like the Cowboys don't have the money to do it. They do.
Yeah. All right, question number 3. We saw Providence and Xavier in an overtime thriller last night, also Villanova, Marquette. Question number 3 is, will a Big East team make the Final Four in this year's March Madness tournament?
Man, look, I'm bullish on Marquette. Okay. I like Marquette a lot. Now, look, and you look at Creighton, who's now won 7 in a row. Creighton's a weird team. Start out really, really hot, lose like 4 in a row, then go on a streak, then lose, then go on a streak. They're very streaky, which that can be dangerous. But Cockbrenner, that monster they found from 7 Foot Island hiding behind a volcano, is an absolute tree in the post. I love the roster they have, but when I look at Marquette, the way Shaka Smart and them plays with Kolek, the lefty, out there shooting, they have a lot of different pieces. They don't have a ton of depth in the front court down low, but man, they play fast. They're able to shoot. They're able to score. They can win games in multiple ways. I really, really like what Marquette is doing. So I'm going to say yes. Because I think they have so many options, right? I know Villanova's down this year. They're not the normal Villanova we see, but Xavier, Providence, like you mentioned, Creighton, like I mentioned, Marquette, Georgetown needs to fire Patrick Ewing, which I think they're going to do, and I think they'll have a chance to come back and be the Georgetown that we all expect. But yes, I do. I think we will see a Big East team in the Final Four, and sign me up for Marquette, but don't be shocked if Creighton gets in there.
Blaine?
Man, Final Four, that's such a tough run. I don't think so. I don't think we see one of them in there. Obviously, you have Xavier, Providence, all these guys who are extremely good, who do play well in the tournament and usually show up in the tournament, but I think there's too many good teams in front of them. Purdue, Tennessee, Houston, Bama, Arizona, Kansas, UCLA, Texas. I don't think they make it to the Final Four because I just think the level of talent, I think there's 4 or 5 teams that you can pretty much almost lock in to make it to the Final Four.
It's really hard for me not to take money and go put it on UCLA plus 1,200 to win.
Yeah, right.
Something smells funny at UCLA this year. I don't know. Is it Hawkes coming back for year 32, or is it Tyga Campbell? Operating up there. I love the way Mick Cronin coaches. Something about UCLA. All right. And look, like I said about the San Francisco 49ers take, my spidey senses have been right most of the time. I am unburdened from the San Francisco 49ers beating the Eagles take because Brock Purdy got hurt. Because let's not act like that game wasn't tight with Brock Purdy and they weren't moving the ball. That game was 7-7 with some dude that nobody's ever heard of at quarterback for the Niners going into the second quarter. So I'm unburdened.
What are you think, percentage-wise on your
the spidey senses?
On the spidey senses.
I'd say probably around 60, 65%. Because
I get a number on that.
I'm not saying spidey senses on teams that are supposed to win. I'm not saying, it feels like Alabama's going to beat Vandy in basketball. The Spidey sense are off the chart. No, it's underdog stories, right? Average Joe's or calling champions.
Would you call the 49ers an underdog story? They're like they're plus 2.5.
Against the Eagles?
Yeah.
With a quarterback that's
I don't think
never played,
that was,
basically.
The Brock Purdy, are you saying just about Brock Purdy or about the 49ers in general? Because
I was saying that
even like the 49ers roster,
the
hell, you could put one of us in there and it'd probably be tight going in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but the
49ers roster were that good. I don't think it's an underdog.
See, I don't think you can say that after Brock Purdy got hurt and we saw what happened when they had to replace Brock Purdy.
Well,
we're not talking about
he got
the backup quarterback.
We're
not talking about the second-string quarterback.
Yeah,
we're not talking about the third-string quarterback. We're talking about the fourth-string quarterback or the third-string quarterback that can't throw the ball.
And the defense was so good they weren't giving up any points. Especially the only reason the Eagles really started scoring because the dude just dropped the snap, and then you walked into the second half, and then you didn't have a quarterback after that.
Well, guess what? When it's great on defense if they're barely scoring, but it's terrible when your offense can't score because regardless, you're going to lose the game.
The real question about college basketball this year is obvious, and it's the question we walk into every year. Is Tennessee going to blow it again?
They lost to
Florida. Rick Barnes, yeah, I know. I had him. It was disgusting. They had 20 points at halftime.
Of course, before they play Auburn at home.
But is Tennessee going to Rick Barnes this thing again going in the tournament?
I don't trust them.
I mean, they're number 2 in the nation right now. You had 20 points at halftime.
Not anymore.
I understand basketball. The ball's not always going to be going in the basket. This is just the way it works. But I'm waiting on a Tennessee team to show up in the tournament. Is this the year? Old guards.
They don't have like a prominent scorer. That's what worries me. They don't have a guy when they're like, all right, we need a bucket. Look, Vescovi's nice. He can get cooking. Ziegler has come out of nowhere and been a really good player. Plavich has done a really good job down low, becoming more of a scorer. Kamwa is able to shoot the three a little bit. We know Josiah, he's a hell of a player. But Tennessee really didn't have that go-to guy at the end of the day that you say, all right, here's the guy that's going to ride us. Everybody else is going to play off him. No, I don't trust Tennessee. I don't trust Tennessee to make the Final Four.
I want him to do good.
And I know Cone doesn't either after what they did to him.
I want him to do good.
Yeah,
I really
took
wanted
him
to get this Rick Barnes stigma out of there.
I took him last year, man. They blew it for me. Last two questions
Tony,
here.
Both
NBA questions here. I'll hit them both, and you guys tell me what you think. LeBron James is chasing the scoring record. When will he break that scoring record? And then Walker Kessler has 100 blocks in his first 50 games.
Yeah.
Are the Utah Jazz really winning this Rudy Gobert trade? Talk amongst yourselves.
Yes. Look, speaking about Spidey senses, came out here and said that I thought Walker Kessler was going to have a better NBA career than Chet Holmgren. Number one, because Chet Holmgren's always going to be hurt. All right? He's going to make Greg Oden look like Cal Ripken Jr. Okay? This dude is put together with bubble gum and tears of gypsy. That's what he's put together.
You're changing your
He's
checks?
never going to play. He's never going to play because he's always going to be hurt. It's great you're 9 feet tall. I can build a building that's 100 stories tall, but if the foundation's messed up, it's going to keep falling over and over and over again. It's not going to serve a purpose. Walker Kessler had a ton of potential because he is longer than the ACT, and he can anticipate, and he's athletic, and he can block without fouling. That's what makes him effective. Yes, the Jazz won the trade. It seems to me like the Jazz did to the Timberwolves what the Seahawks did to the Broncos in the Russell Wilson trade. You got fleeced. Now, I know Chet still has some time, and I hope he does have a good career. But again, you can't be put together with Lincoln Logs and expect to make it out through an NBA season. He couldn't even get to the season, David. He couldn't even get to the season.
Yeah, no, I mean, what Walker Kessler's doing is incredible. 100 blocks in 50 games, and he's stealing the ball, he's putting up points, assists, everything. It really is incredible. Blaine, what's your take on Walker Kessler, and then when LeBron James will break the scoring record?
Walker Kessler, even from the Auburn days, like he's a better version of Rudy Gobert.
Yeah,
that's what he is. Rudy's a tree. He got some grit to him. We all know that. But Walker's the same way, and he anticipates better. He's more athletic. He's more nuanced in the thinking of basketball. So give me Walker Kessler. Always was for a guy for Walker Kessler. And the LeBron James thing. Look, is he going to break it this year? I think he is.
I think he is.
I think he'll break it this year. I mean, he's almost about to break another record in assists and passing. So this is nothing new for LeBron James. When you play this long in the league, this is when you start chasing records. We see it with Tom Brady. We see it with these guys who are the exception, who are in the NBA this long, who are in the NFL this long. And it's about mentality. That's what it is. You know, I mean, we always talk about mentality with Michael Jordan, and I get that. The guy was a competitor. But I want the mentality that every day you wake up, you take care of your body so you can play the game you love the longest. This guy's, I don't know, what is he, almost 40? He's almost 40. Yeah. He's playing 40 minutes a game, averaging 38 points at that age. That is mentality. That is championship mentality, longevity of career, to get up every day to have your body in the right place to go play a full NBA basketball.
Yeah, look, I think LeBron off the court, I don't like him, but there's no way I can sit here and not just be in awe of what he is accomplishing on the court. We are seeing something that, again, he's living up to the hype. Let's be honest. How many people have actually lived up to the hype? How many, when they had the accolades that he had coming out, have actually lived up to the hype? I put half of the off-court stuff on having to go through that. Even though he's a man, he takes responsibility for his actions. But it is incredible to see what LeBron James does when that basketball is in his hands. Does he flop a little bit too much? Yeah, but everybody does in the league now. Just turn on the league. He had a little hand in making that happen. But it is impossible to not look at the numbers LeBron puts up and say this is one of the most incredible things that we have seen in sports, because it's all around. It's not just points. Some guys break the record in points. Some guys break it in assists. Some guys break it in rebounds. Some guys, like Sean Kemp, break it in how many kids you can have in a 5-year span. But LeBron James has done all of it, has legitimately done all of it. The complete, thorough player. His greatness is in his versatility and his commitment and the grind, like you brought up. I can always respect that.
No doubt. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right. You want to get to bets real quick and then get to the Booster Club?
Sure. Let's go.
All right, I'm going to try this. We have no NHL tonight, which absolutely sucks. Started out a little rough yesterday, very early in the month. I'm going to keep using my formula that I used last month through today. If it doesn't work tonight, I'm going to switch it up. So I'm going USC money line, Arizona money line, Middle Tennessee money line, Ohio State money line, and UCLA money line. That's plus 247. Then I'm going the Knicks at home tonight. Money line. Let's go, guys. All right, they're plus 100. Julius Randle, can get hot as a firecracker and burn like a candle. I need it tonight. All right, give me the Knicks.
Go ahead, Coney.
All right, my protest is ended. I'm back in the fight now. Here, I'm going to take 2 college basketball parlays. UCLA,
okay.
St. Mary's, and Arizona parlayed together at minus 200, and USC plus Houston money line at minus 200. We're back in the fight. There's a lot of strategy sessions and whatnot. Just got to, get back in there, and can't wait to see you boys tomorrow.
I'm surprised I didn't see you throwing tomato soup on paintings or gluing yourself to a basketball court.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because
standards.
Blaine actually took USC money line, Arizona money line, St. Mary's money line.
All right, that's what I'm taking. Give me the Nuggies money line. Give me the Nuggets and give me the over at 250.5 in the Pelicans Mavs game. That's plus 105. And give me UCLA minus 16.5. I believe they play Washington.
Washington, yeah.
And then give me the Houston Wichita State under at 132.5. That is plus 275.
Okay. All right. We'll be twinning out Baby Cone's bets. Coney, do we have anything before we get to the Booster Club?
No, Baby Cones he's taking Cavs Grizz over 224 at minus 110, and Mavs Pelicans over 225.5 for Mavs Pelicans, and that's minus 110.
Never a bad idea to take an over in the NBA.
All right, let's go to Travis Elrod. Says yesterday he said Jerry Jones had yes men as coaches. I agree.
Yep.
But would you make the same exception for Bill Parcells?
No. It's not every coach. It's just lately, right? It's lately. It's really from when I can remember. Not that I don't know when Bill Parcells coached under Jerry Jones, and I get that. But it's just been the string of hires he's made. It seems like, again, and it's just like anything, right? When you have 2 alpha male dominant personalities in the same room together that both have a vision that may be a little bit different, maybe very similar, at some point you're going to butt heads, and Jerry's always going to win this. It seems to me that it's almost built up for Jerry Jones. Like, if it does go bad, if I hire a yes man now, the damage control is a lot easier than if I go hire somebody that's going to go out there and be like, you know what? Jerry Jones was the problem, and here's why. That's what it seems like to me. It's almost like a CYA thing. But no, I would not call Bill Parcells a yes man. I would say that's the last yes man that has been in, or the last not yes man, no man that has been involved with Jerry Jones. And he's just, hired his stepkids. Like Jason Garrett. What's Jason Garrett going to say to Jerry Jones? I mean, hey, can I take the car out for a ride? Like, or you got any extra money for dinner? Like, I just, again, at some point, there's a common denominator. Like I said yesterday, I'm not a mathematician. I wasn't really great at it. I was good at it until they started putting different letters in it. But I can tell you what a common denominator is. And the common denominator for the Dallas Cowboys is Jerry Jones. So hashtag, you are the problem.
All right, tomorrow, I'd love to see a lot of people asking in the chat. We will have all access tomorrow
Yes.
at 11:30.
Yes.
The same time we always have it, so go ahead and get that cleared up. I had a question in here. I can't find the name, but it was good questions. Can we see the Lions win their division next year? I mean, you see the Packers down. You see certain teams not being the same. Do the Lions take that step next year and bring home the division?
I'm not ready to go so far as to say that I think the Lions win the division, but I am willing to say I think the Lions make the playoffs. Which, to me, I mean, Detroit, you would definitely take that right now. I mean, y'all haven't finished, below fourth place since the Tropics did in Flint.
That was Max about. All right, so with everything going on with the Packers and the Vikings being frauds, would you say that Detroit
Lions okay,
are
all
the
right.
favorite to win the NFC North next season?
Here's what I'm going to say. All right, if the Vikings get some pieces on defense, they're a problem. Okay, they're legitimate. We don't need to treat the Vikings like we're talking about some other teams that don't have weapons or anything like that. They still got Justin Jefferson. All right, they just added T.J. Hawkinson. This offense is going nowhere. Okay, I'll go ahead and tell you that. If they, add some pieces on defense, the Vikings should scare you a whole hell of a lot more than the Packers. And then you look at the Bears, which are also in that division. Correct? I'm not losing my mind. I mean, I know they need to add pieces around Justin Fields, but it's going to be very interesting. I think the Lions are way ahead of where the Bears are. Let's see where the chips fall. But I'm looking at two defenses in that NFC North. I'm looking at the Lions defense, and I'm looking at the Vikings defense. If they can fix both of those, I don't think you just have two legitimate playoff contenders. I think you may have two legitimate NFC conference championship winners and teams that can make it to the Super Bowl because they're a whole hell of a lot closer than some other. I think that the Lions and the Vikings are closer than the Packers.
I think if you're the Lions, you're in a better situation. Because I think the amount of money the Vikings are playing for these offensive players, you're not going to get a lot of help on defense. You're just not. Think about the guys that are on the Lions. They're young. They're young. Jared Goff, one of the best seasons we've seen. I mean, hell, J-Mo didn't even play this year.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Jamal Williams.
Almost, I wouldn't say no-name guys, but the mid-tier guys who are absolutely playing phenomenal. Young offensive line, you got Penei Sewell from Oregon, who's balling at the left tackle position. And then you go to the Vikings, you have top-tier talent. Justin Jefferson.
On offense.
Top 3 talent. Dalvin Cook, top 3 talent. I mean, Hawkinson, I would say top 4 talent in the Titans. The offensive line is not great, but you have top-tier guys, so you're paying a lot of money. You're about to pay Justin Jefferson a lot of money. And you should. So I don't know how much they can really fix that defense. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Lions take a step before the Vikings.
Well, it's not like you got to go get a bunch of elite players. You need to go get pieces that matter, that can affect the Vikings don't have to hold people to 17 points a game.
True.
Like with that offense.
True.
You just have to be good. How many teams have we seen with elite offenses and just good defenses win not only Super Bowls, but national championships?
Chiefs.
In college football. The Chiefs, that's who the Chiefs are.
Yeah.
That's 100% who the Chiefs are. It's just the truth.
What do you think,
Don't forget, Jared Goff has already led a team to the Super Bowl. All right, he led the Rams to that Super Bowl.
Right.
So when you're looking at Vikings with Kirk Cousins or Lions with Jared Goff, look, the Lions, I still think the Vikings are in a good position to win the division unless Detroit takes that next step on the defensive side of the ball. But Jared Goff's already led a team to the Super Bowl. He can do it again.
Then let's not forget the Vikings were like 11-1 in one-possession games.
Yeah, so they know how to win.
It could turn quick. That ball can flip to the other side extremely quickly. Let's go to Laura Brown. She said, did y'all see Shanahan say that Jimmy G will not be with the 49ers next season? Where's he headed, fellas?
We heard that last year.
Again, it's you're in the sweepstakes. I believe it now this year, though. I believe it with what Brock did. This is the question we were asking. You have pieces, Jimmy G and Trey Lance. All right, think about you're going to offload Jimmy G hopefully to somebody, and right now teams need him.
You're only good as your backup. You're only as good as your backup.
There's teams going to take Jimmy G. So, look, you can rewire. Your roster's already fantastic. You could continue to add to it because you have pieces to move. The Niners are in a great situation. You have a lot of good pieces that are standing and sturdy, but you've also got pieces that can move to get you where you need to go. So thanks for the question, Laura B. Best beef jerky maker around. Appreciate you guys. Had a ton of fun at the Senior Bowl. I want to give a shout-out to Molly Middleton, Jim Nagy, everybody here.
Yes.
They were fantastic. Aaron, all the girls that helped get the guys to come over to interview and the players, but most importantly, you guys, the audience. Make sure you subscribe. Follow us on all social medias. Head over to the Daily Wire Plus as well. There's some great stuff. Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, everybody. It's a who's who over there, but you know who's talking about sports. We appreciate you guys, and like the chances of this weather getting any better outside, we're going, gone.